Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to review in Just Like That, Season 3. 3 episodes in one, baby! Yes, because I have been missing in action for a couple of weeks, so we do have episodes 8, 9, and 10 to review together. Don't you worry about a thing, because just like everything in life, everything seems to be holistic. Everything happens for a reason. Now, everything I say in this video is for entertainment purposes only, not rooted in truths or facts. Everything's alleged and just my opinion. Subscribe, thumb up the video. But it turns out that actually episode 7, which was the karaoke birthday party, which I really enjoyed and loved, was a lot of fun. And then episode 8 was like really weird. It was shorter than the other episodes. Episode 8 was like 8 or 10 minutes shorter than what usually their episodes usually their episodes are long. Than usually the length of their episodes is. Anyway. And then that was episode 8. Episode 9, yeah, but also in episode 8, like nothing really happened. It felt like a filler, fluffer episode. Very bizarre. And then episode 9, something big happened in episode 9, but nothing we weren't expecting. And then episode 10 started getting really interesting. So I thought to myself, oh, how fascinating. I skipped reviewing every episode individually because at the end of the day, not much happened. And most importantly to me is episode 10 of the 3. Okay, so let's recap what happened, right? So we have Gia, who is Giuseppe's mom. Giuseppe is the mother of the guy who is very endowed in the show. Only in the show, though. In real life, it's a different story. Allegedly. We don't know. But so Gia still does not want Anthony to be together with her son. She hates Anthony because he is like, what, 20, 30 years older than Giuseppe. But she also married a guy who was like 25, 30 years older than her. But she doesn't want her son to do that. I guess she has some remorse, or remorse says that she doesn't want her son to get. But Giuseppe seems to be really happy with Anthony, so we'll go. Charlotte seems to have this weird vertigo situation going on. She's kind of starting to faint, which it's not funny, but the way that they did the whole thing of her fainting on the art installation, which was supposed to be, I guess, Tracy Emin art installation, I guess they didn't want to pay her to use her name for the art installation. Like, do you remember Sex and the City, season 6? I think the episode was called The One, when Carrie goes with Baryshnikov to a gallery, Sean Kelly's gallery, where Charlotte was working in the middle of the night to see a woman performing. She was just living in the gallery for like 12 days. They also didn't mention the name of the artist in that episode. So now they also didn't mention the name. And I think it was supposed to reference Tracy Emin, but whatever. So it's a kind of a mattress on the floor. It's a dirty mattress and a lot of stuff happens there. There's a condom on it as well. It's all gross. There's a performance happening on it when the gallery opens. Charlotte falls on it because she's fainting. We knew she was going to fall on it, whatever. So now in the next episode, she is still falling. She has vertigo. She can't stand. She's kind of gets out of bed and falls. Harry has had his surgery. His prostate surgery, because he had his cancer treatment going on. So now for whatever reason, the surgery that he had made his balls swell up really big. So he has like these balls of steel, I think they called them. So he's in bed. He can't really move. He suffers standing up because everything hurts him down there. She's fainting the second she stands out of bed. So she's fallen all over the place. They're a mess. not much more happens with them, really. Miranda is kind of developing the relationship with Joy, with the British BBC, CNN, ABC, whatever. The television chick is, whatever her name is. And she has an alcohol problem. Now, she's an alcoholic, not Joy, Miranda. Miranda has a problem telling Joy that she has been sober for many years. Joy brings a bottle of rum or some other alcohol and says, "Can I leave it at your place?" Miranda's like, "Oh, yeah, sure." But then Miranda's tempted. She's tempted by the alcohol. So we have a whole scene of Miranda opening when Joy leaves the apartment. Miranda is alone, working at home on her computer in the kitchen. So she kind of goes into the pantry, opens the cupboard, and sees the booze, and she's tempted by it. Similar to that scene in Sex and the City where Miranda kept eating that huge cookie cake thing, and she ate the whole thing and she felt disgusting afterwards. Or another scene from it just like that, that was a cookie. But then there's another scene where she had a cake and then she threw the cake away and then she opened the garbage can to take the cake out of the garbage can, at which point she called Carrie to say, like, "Carrie, I've sunk so low, I'm taking food out of the garbage can out to eat it." So I guess they wanted to make us relive that situation from Sex and the City by getting Miranda tempted, this time not by sugar, but by alcohol. And it's kind of sad because as long as it was a cookie and as long as it was brownies or a cake and she couldn't quit the sugar, like that was cute. Being lured in back to the alcohol, not cute. But, oh, spoilers ahead, right? There's spoilers. If you haven't watched, and just like that, season 3, episode 8, 9, and 10, spoilers. Sorry, I should have said it earlier. But we'll go. It's 2025. You never know. Surprises around every corner. So she is tempted, but she resists. And ultimately, she throws away the bottle of booze down the garbage chute, I believe. As far as I can remember, she either dumps the booze in the sink and then throws the bottle in the chute, or throws the entire bottle full of booze into the... Anyway, she doesn't end up drinking it. One episode later, she's talking to Carrie about this situation, and she's worried to tell Joy that she's an alcoholic. She doesn't want Joy to judge her, to think any less of her, because, you know, and I get it. But then Carrie, I guess, tells her, like, "You do you, boo." You know, Carrie. Yeah, Carrie's never a good friend, really. I'm sure Carrie just said something like, "Whatever, how do you like my shoes?" Okay, yeah, that's a problem. But, like, what do we do about my 1,644th pair of shoes? Should I get them in pink or in red? This scene didn't actually happen, but would have been funny if it did. They should have asked me to write that episode. So, anyway, long story short, episode 9 then comes along and Miranda does confront Joy because Joy tells her, "Hey, Miranda, listen, Linda, where is the booze? I've had a rough day at work today." She comes back to Miranda's place. She's kind of staying with her now. Seems so, more or less. And she's like, "So where's the booze I brought the last time? Did you already finish the whole bottle? Because, like, I need some." And Miranda's like, "Yeah, no, they did, I did, you know what?" Well, she's like, "No, I did not finish it. I threw it away." And Joy's like, "What was wrong with it?" And then Miranda says, "Look, we got to talk. I'm an alcoholic. We'll go. So I got baggage and I don't want you to judge me." And Joy says, "Oh, sweetie, you got baggage? I got baggage with a big B." And Miranda says, "Oh." And then Miranda says, "I have a lot of room in this apartment for baggage. so you can just bring in all your baggage, bring in all the baggage you want. And that was like a nice little tender moment between the two, and it was bonding, and it felt like love, lerv in the club between them two. That was kind of cute. And I thought to myself, interesting, I wonder where this relationship is going to go in the next seasons. Well, apparently nowhere, because the show got canceled. But we'll go. So there's that. In episode 10, we finally see Steve again. And I'm like, oh, finally. Episode 10 is where it's at. Because episode 10, for the first time, and just like that, it took them 3 full seasons to give us that Sex and the City vibe again. Why? I'll get to it. By episode 10, Brady, Miranda's and Steve's son, tells them, well, he's now changing schools. He's going to go and study more to become an even better chef than he is. And he cooked a lovely dinner for mom and dad. And Steve came over to Miranda's place to have a family bonding moment. I loved that scene because I thought, finally, Steve, Brady, something with a B, and Miranda are together. Cute. Miranda has a gorgeous little top on. Love the sweater. The fashion was on point. But the second the camera zoomed in on the food that he made for them, like they made a whole deal about Miranda or Steve looking at the food and being like, oh, this is so good. They were so proud of him. They're like, oh, he made an extra effort. I'm like, why is he making an extra effort for them? What is he preparing them for? It's an old trick. You know what I mean? These writers, for just like that, girl, they're veterans, honey. They've been like, you got to teach them some new tricks at a certain point. But anyway, so here they are. I'm like, okay, what is he actually going to tell them? And surprise, surprise, 1 minute later, he's like, Mom, Dad, I got a chick pregnant. Miranda is shocked. Steve is angry because Brody, Mr. B, says, look, she doesn't want me as a dad. I hooked up with her a couple of times. I was drunk, wasn't thinking, didn't wear a condom. Oopsie. Miranda is like, what will go, will go. Steve says, if you don't fix this, I will throw you out. Like he threatens him. Brady then leaves the house, slams the door. The food is left there on the table. Now the last comment is, we can't even eat the food now anymore. Steve is furious. Miranda now wants to find out who is this woman. She finds out that the woman is working in a hair salon and her name is Mia. So Miranda takes Charlotte, who she called, group call in episode 10 between Charlotte, Miranda, and Carrie. We were only missing Samantha because this was a very clear callback to Sex and the City when the girls had their group calls. I loved those scenes when the screen would split in 4 and all of them would call together and each one of them would be in their respective apartments and they would be talking. We got that moment, ladies and gentlemen, in episode 10. Finally, we got that moment. Carrie is on one phone, Miranda's in the middle on another phone, and then Charlotte is on her phone. Each one of them in their own apartments, and Miranda's like, oh my God, girls, I gotta tell you, Brady is gonna have a child. And I'm like, okay, Charlotte was the most understanding as a mother. Now, Carrie is not a mother. Carrie doesn't care. Carrie doesn't carry. Little joke there. In fact, she was a terrible friend. Also, during this phone call, she's just like, again, she gave me the vibes. Like earlier, I told you, right? She gave me the same vibes as like when she said, look, okay, like you have a problem, but like, hold on. What about my 1,633rd pair of shoes? Should I buy them in red or in blue? You know, like Carrie's just like, whatever, girl. So he pregnant. Okay, not my problem. I'm not pregnant, so why are you disturbing me? That's the vibe Carrie gave me. Charlotte was nicer to the point where Charlotte, then the next day or a couple of days later, goes with Miranda to the hair salon where Miranda is trying to snoop around and find out who is Mia. So typical Miranda style with comedic timing. Miranda goes to the cash register and she's like, "Hey, I really heard great things about Mia. I would love to book an appointment with her." And the lady at the cash register says, "We don't have a hairstylist named Mia working for us." In that moment, from the back, Mia comes out and says, "Who's asking for me?" or something like that. And they're like, "Oh, that's Mia?" Yeah. She's like, "Wow." The person working at the cash register says, "Wow, we've never had anybody ever ask us for a shampoo lady." Mia is not a hairstylist. Mia just washes your hair. So Miranda's like, "Oh, okay." So anyway, Miranda's there now getting her hair washed by Mia. Mia has a baby bump. Mia is far along where Mia is going to have the baby. She wants the baby. Brady says she wants the baby, but she doesn't want me as a daddy. She doesn't care for me. But they hooked up several times. She cared enough to hook up 3 times at least. But okay. So we'll go. Oh yeah, Zara says Charlotte's outfits were great this episode, finally. Yeah, Charlotte, everything was fabulous. Episode 10 worked. Episode 10 was Sex and the City gold. It wasn't just like that. It was back to Sex and the City. We'll get to it. So she's like now getting her hair washed. Mia starts farting. Again, great callback to Sex and the City when Miranda was pregnant, went shopping for shoes for Carrie, and she was all swollen because she was pregnant. She tried to take her ring off her finger, and as she pulled, she farted, and then she said, "I just pulled my own finger, ha ha ha." That was a Sex and the City moment, Miranda losing farts. Mia now delivers the modern version of the Sex and the City fart scene, of the pregnant Sex and the City fart scene. Mia is highly pregnant and farts. And as she farts, she said, she's washing Miranda's hair and farts. It says, "Oh, so sorry, I can't keep it in." Miranda's like, "Yeah, I understand." And we're all supposed to think, we all remember the moment when Miranda farted. Emotions running deep, baby. Emotions running deep. Oh, the memories. And I'm like, boy, oh boy, we needed a fart joke to make this thing work. But you know what? It worked. It was very endearing. Only in Just Like That can a fart make an entire scene. See, this is what we're gonna miss since they canceled the show. But so she farts, and Miranda, of course, because she might be a good lawyer, but she's a really bad liar. And if you're a bad liar, are you a good lawyer? If I were Carrie Bradshaw and still writing my sex column, I would have written, this is the moment when I would have voiced over the scene saying, "And I couldn't help but wonder, is a good lawyer always a good liar?" Miranda isn't. So, she kind of starts questioning, like a lawyer would, this poor hair washing lady. And she says, "So, how far along are you? Blah, blah, blah. Who's the father? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, you don't even know." She's like, I don't care. Like the father, blah. She's like, "What do you mean? You don't even know? Do you even know who the father is?" At this point, Mia is like, "Lady, what are you on about? Why are you questioning me like that?" And then Miranda says, "I have to admit, I am the mother of the man who knocked you up." At this point, Mia gets really upset and throws water all over Miranda's face and clothes. Miranda jumps and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to do this like this, but like, I would love to be a part of hers or his life when he or she is born." And then the joke of jokes, Mia tells her, super upset. Mia is like, she throws one of those comments about uh, being non-binary. Mia says, "What if the baby is non-binary? How dare you?" It turns around, walks away, and we hear her fart as she exits the scene. And this is a funny moment, not just because of yet another fart, but because Miranda was so scared in season 1 about how to say them, their, he, she, the whole pronoun situation. She was like trying to learn, to be open-minded and to say everything correctly and dated Che. And now, you know what I mean, in season 3, she still doesn't have it in her. She still doesn't have it in her to hypothesize that the baby might be non-binary. So Mia leaves, farts, and Miranda's like, oh, that's the moment. Now, Carrie already several episodes ago, the whole season has the leitmotif of her starting to write a novel. And I do believe that Michael Patrick King was a little bit jelly, allegedly, that The Gilded Age, which is also, I think, on HBO, is quite successful. And they also have Cynthia Nixon playing in it. And the show also plays in New York. So it's like The Gilded Age has a little bit of Miranda in it through Ain't Ada. So he thought, well, why don't I just make it look like Carrie is writing a book from the Gilded Age? So Carrie starts writing a book about a woman from the Gilded Age era, more or less, give or take a century, okay? And so, she starts the whole book about like the woman didn't know what she got herself into, blah, blah, blah. In Sex and the City, what made Sex and the City so fascinating to us, amongst many things, was the fact that Carrie, every episode would begin with Carrie starting a new column, a new sex column for the magazine she was writing for. And so you would hear her off screen, her voice, asking herself a question about sexuality. And then usually by the end of every episode in Sex and the City, Carrie would end her article that she was writing that week by saying, and I couldn't help but wonder, blah, 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 blah. And that's the end of the episode. This is what we were missing in And Just Like That, because when season 1 began, she was doing a podcast. That didn't work out very well. She wasn't really writing. Season 2, wow, that was a mess. I don't even remember half of it. And then season 3, she started writing a book. They couldn't make her go back to writing sex articles in a magazine because now she's older, she's rich, she inherited a lot of money, she's more elevated, she's written like 7 books. Like now she's more elevated. So they found a way to do the Sex and the City shtick of her voicing over every episode by making her write a book about a woman that, is dealing with sexuality, but more so the woman is dealing with companionship, true love, things that are deeper than just sexuality, which is, I think, why they're also trying to tell us the ladies are now older. We're elevating the whole thing to a higher sphere where it's not just about sexuality. Matter of fact, Carrie, when it comes to Duncan, the British writer who's living underneath her, like she's starting to develop feelings for him, but like is super mean with Miranda, as Miranda after the party tells her like, I felt a little something between you two. And she's like, so now in the 10th episode, she tells Charlotte that she's kind of overstepped her boundaries with Miranda a little bit because Miranda implied that they understand each other well, and then she attacked Miranda. Charlotte says, but it seems like you really like him. And then Carrie attacked Charlotte and then realized, now I am attacking another one of my friends. Oh boy, okay, I might go on a date with Duncan, but then I'll never hear the end of it with Miranda. And then Charlotte says, who cares what Miranda thinks? And then Carrie says, oh my God, why are you? Okay, girl. Yeah, yes, finally, you're becoming more like me. Charlotte came to Carrie's house that day to escape her own house because Charlotte is trying to cleanse her chakras to heal her emotions because of the vertigo, because she had a lot of stress and fear and anxiety because her husband is going through the cancer stuff. So she won, I don't remember how she won, but she won a 1-hour cleansing session online with some therapist. And she's trying to do that 1 hour at home, but she can't because she wants to redecorate the entire home again. And Harry tells her like, it's like brand new, the house. Why do you want to redecorate the whole thing? So she has workers in the house. Everything is super loud. Plus Rose and LTW's son are step dancing, rehearsing for some step dance stuff. So they're super loud. So she can't have her session, her peaceful session with this lady whose face we don't see in the beginning. And actually, Charlotte doesn't see her face. Charlotte says, "Are you going to turn on your camera?" And the woman says, "No, I don't need to." So Charlotte's like, "Oh, okay." We see the woman only from the back. And she had curly hair and her voice was kind of, I thought, oh, is that a cameo appearance by Ray Perlman or Rhea Perlman, whatever her name is? Carla from Cheers. No, turns out it's not her. If it was a famous actress, I have no clue who it was. They did show her face finally after she felt emotions for Charlotte, because at first this woman was saying like, "Look, honey, I got only 1 hour for you. You want 1 hour. Tell me what your shit is. I'll cleanse your chakras. We call it a day." So she gave us the impression that she really didn't care. She was all about the money and the timing, and she had the timer ticking backwards. It's giving me very much web therapy with Phoebe from Friends. What's her name? The actress. So anyway, but Charlotte now goes to Carrie's house, and there's only like 12 minutes left between all the interruptions that she had with this chakra cleansing person. And so she says, "I only have 12 minutes now. There's no time for anything." And the woman tells her like, "Okay, what's your issue?" And then Charlotte starts crying and saying, "Look, I've had a really hard time with my husband. I couldn't tell anybody that he was sick. Then I could finally tell it. I'm trying to process it, and it's painful for me." And then the therapist lady finally feels something, for Charlotte turns on her camera, and Charlotte says, "Oh, I can see you now." And the lady says, "I'm sorry. Sometimes we forget that there's a real human being on the other side." Charlotte says, "But we only have 12 minutes left." And then the lady says, "No, I got all the time we need. Tell me everything." So that was a nice little bonding moment, like the humanity. And I felt this also quite a lot, lately, where when I go to a doctor's appointment, the doctor just acts like you're just a thing. You're not human to them. You're a number. And it's becoming, I feel, harder and harder to get through to doctors and make them see you as a human with emotions, rather than just you being a money-making machine for them. So anyway, of course Charlotte has all these problems while she's asking Carrie to do this session at her home, because Carrie's home is more silent than Charlotte's home. And in all of this, all Carrie cares about is herself, is about the fact that she had a fight with Miranda, and figuring out what she's going to wear to her dinner with Duncan, because Duncan invited her on a date. And yeah, we know she has feelings for Duncan, whatever. But so she's writing the book. Her and Duncan are going back and forth with, like, he's telling her, like, "This is my book about Margaret Thatcher. You read my chapter, and then I'll read one of your chapters of your book. And then we're going to give each other notes." He loves her book so much that he kind of stopped writing his book. So he's late on the deadlines to deliver his book to his editor. Pardon me. But so he wants to help Carrie. He really wants to help Carrie. IYK. But Carrie's together with Aiden. And as I told you in my other review, episode 7, I said this relationship ain't gonna last. Go back to my video. See what I said, episode 7. Matter of fact, by episode 9, Carrie and Aiden break up. But here's the thing. He's jealous because he sees that she's very close to Duncan. That's the whole, basically, in a nutshell. And he feels like she's going to fuck behind his back again. That she's gonna betray him. And she says, "I thought we were through with this. I thought that you trust me now." He's like, "You hurt me so bad during Sex in the City." She's like, "So you don't trust me?" And he's like, no. And that's it. And in a New York minute, and just like that, they broke up. It was ridiculous. Honestly, the whole relationship was so bad. The chemistry between them was so bad. Him coming back, the way that they should have written their story differently. Like, why did they even bring him back to hurt him again? And he was acting up like a kid. He was around her. He was so insecure. And I get it. I understand I understand his point. But like, why torture this man again? And good for him. At least he saw the writing on the wall, because he's not intellectual by any means, and Carrie needs an intellectual fart. Here we go again with the flatulence. Carrie needs an intellectual fart to make her feel good about herself, like she's also intellectual, like that's what gets her horny. Duncan can deliver that. Aiden can't. Aiden can make furniture, but Aiden can't give you an intellectual stimulating conversation, which is what she wants because she's snobby, you know. But she would never admit it, but okay. So at least, so I hand it to him. He saw the writing on the wall and he's like, he broke up with her. This time, at least, he did not wait for her to break his heart. Because she would have. She would have had a relationship with Duncan, for sure. Now, Duncan is leaving for England. But he invites her to this dinner party, Carrie, after she broke up with Aiden, to say like, hey, come with me to this dinner party where his editor is. And of course she comes because of him, but also because he said he would make her meet the editor. And I don't like the conversation she had with him. She's like, yeah, I'll come with you to the event. I know she was joking, but it was a stupid joke. She's like, but what do I get in return? How are you going to pay me for my time? I'm like, what are you, a hooker? So in poor taste. I don't know why they keep writing the worst stuff for Carrie. Really, it's like they hate her. Anyway, so she goes to the drink event where he is with his editor. The editor is upset that he didn't deliver his book yet, and then Carrie arrives, and then the editor says, "Oh my God, that's Carrie Bradshaw." I'm like, okay, she's not that popular. Come on. Even the Brits know her. And then he's like, oh yeah, you can meet her. Like, she's my roomie. So anyway, then she says to Carrie, like, if you need an editor in England, in London, in Londres, darling, let me know. Here's my card. I'm like, who gives a card in 2025? Nobody. You do a digital thing. You don't do like, here's my card. Anyway, you can see who's writing the show. Okay. Somebody from the Gilded Age. So anyway, they're talking a lot about London. So that night, he takes her, and by the way, again, the writing is on the wall. Carrie is wearing Vivienne Westwood almost every episode, and she's wearing Vivienne Westwood for the most part because shortly before they started shooting season 3 of And Just Like That, the Vivienne Westwood personal archives went on auction. Christie's or Sotheby's, I think Christie's. And with the budget of And Just Like That, Carrie Bradshaw, aka Sarah Jessica Parkaraka, she bought up almost the entire archive. And the money did go to charity, but she got to wear Vivienne Westwood's own clothes, some of them historical monuments. And they got them altered for Sarah Jessica Parker. It hurt my soul. I wanted to bid for that Cinderella dress when it went on auction. But she outbid me. The HBO team bought the Cinderella dress, which Carrie Bradshaw was wearing in episode 10 of And Just Like That. Now, while episode 10 of And Just Like That will be forgotten, okay, that dress is now ruined because they've altered Vivienne Westwood's own favorite dress, the Cinderella dress, which Andreas Krontala, Vivienne's husband, said she wore to bits. It kept breaking. She would stitch it together. She would fix it. She loved that dress. And now they've altered it for Sarah Jessica Parker to wear. And in Just Like That, season 3, episode 10. It was giving me Kim Kardashian wearing Marilyn Monroe's Happy Birthday to You, Mr. President. Met Gala. Destroying vibes. That's the vibes it gave me. I'm not saying that Sarah Jessica Parker busted through the dress. No. She wore it respectfully. But the mere fact that they had to alter the dress to fit her means that they ruined it. It's no longer Vivian's original dress. Now, had I bought the dress, you would not have seen it in a famous TV show. Had I bought the dress, it would have been properly archived with the body shape of Vivian. Anyway, it is what it is. But she's wearing a lot of Vivienne Westwood, not just because of the auction, but because they're hinting a lot at London, aren't they? In fact, in episode 10, Duncan finally ends up in bed with Carrie. Finally, that was also a moment because like he's on the staircase. She's going to go upstairs to her apartments. He's going to go into his bunker. And he's like, do you want to come with me to my hole? And she's like, she's not even talking. She's acting like a little girl. Like, and then she goes up the stairs, like takes 3 steps, changes her mind, turns around, runs down to him, bangs on his door. It's like, take me, Duncan, take me now. So Duncan takes her. Really ridiculous, embarrassing conversation that they have after sex. Really lame. To the point where she says, oh boy, you're always the writer, aren't you? And he's like, yeah, always. And he's like, and you're also always the writer. And in that moment, when he said, you're also always the writer, you know what I noticed? I noticed that for some reason, Sarah Jessica Parker, this entire season, she never acted natural. Why is that, you think? Every single time I saw her acting, she always acts through puns and like, let me deliver a punchline. Let me, like, she's talking through jokes. She never talks seriously. Like everything did you notice this? Like go back and rewatch episode 10. Like every time Carrie speaks, it's like it's a little, I got a punchline. And it's not just the acting, good or bad acting. It's the writing. They wrote her texts as punchlines. Like, why can't she have one nice, normal conversation? I mean, she had it with Miranda when they had a fight after the karaoke party in the kitchen. Like, that was a moment. That was a moment. But like, even when she's in bed with Duncan, I mean, I don't know the entire script by heart, thank God. But you know what I mean? Like, but like every time she would open her mouth, it would be like, haha, you know, like, and here's another pun and another joke. I'm like, boy, oh boy, either they wanted Carrie to be so insecure that she keeps talking through punchlines. Why would they write it so awfully for her? DL says, I think it was her attempt at flirting. No, but this is the way she talks to Miranda. This is the same way she talks to Charlotte. She's not flirting with everybody. Like everybody she talks to, like it's through these punchlines. It's so annoying. But okay, I mean, look, the fact that she's annoying doesn't make the show bad. It's okay. It's a great show. I enjoy it a lot, and I'm fine with Carrie being a douchebag. You know, there's enough other characters that are not douchebags. By episode 10, I'm expecting LTW to have an affair with her editor. The editor just disappeared. He's completely gone. We don't see him at all. By episode 10, their flirtation, because LTW admits to Charlotte at a certain point, she's like, I'm flirting a lot with my editor. It's no longer just a work flirt. It's like a flirt. But he's gone. All of a sudden, he's gone. Seema started dating the gardener. She's in the gardener's apartment building, which he has an apartment with. He lived there. He grew up there. His mom rented the place like in the 70s or something, or 60s, 70s. It's a rent-controlled apartment. He pays like $700 or $900 a month. And Seema, when she hears that, she's like, I hate you, because, you know, she's a realtor. Seema starts her own business. Finally, the bank is not giving her any loan to start a business. So she just used her own money to start a business. We all thought she's broke. She couldn't even take a cab in the past episodes. She's always saying, like, I had to walk, I had to fire my driver. Everybody's telling her, just take a cab. But now all of a sudden in episode 10, she has the money. She invested her own money to start her own business. And she rehired her driver, Carlos or Benito or something. I'm like, so you had the money. You rehired your, what is going on here? Why did you fire him, girl? I don't want to know what sort of midlife crisis you're going through, and I don't care. But so she's together with him. They're in this apartment, beautifully furbished and furnished apartment. The furniture is, oh, I love it, very 70s, love it. And then he says, my mom passed away many years ago. I loved her so much, but she's still here with us. She is this plant. In the kitchen, there's a plant that his mom saved, and the plant is growing. And he says, the soul of my mom is in the plant. So then Seema thinks that he's crazy because he loves the plant more than her. Of course, then she smokes a cigarette that night, makes the plant fall. The plant is dead. Oh my God, she doesn't want to see him again because she thinks she killed his mother. He says, you're crazy. He comes to her job and brings a lot of potted little leftover leaves that he saved of the plant that is destroyed. I'm like, the plant just fell down the window, down the chute or off the balcony. The plant is not destroyed. The pot is destroyed. The plant isn't. You just pick up the plant, put it in a new pot, and take it back home. They're making it sound like the plant died falling. That's not how plants die. Anyway, so he potted little plantlets and brought them all to her job and said, now you're going to take care of them. She's like, I'm not good with plants. He's like, I'll come over and water them for you. Meanwhile, her assistant, who's another cliche of a gay person, I'm like, why does everybody gay in that show have to be a cliche? He has a Huck bag. It's not a Birkin baby. He has a Huck bag, and he carries it around with him everywhere he goes. And so annoying with the sweaters, and I just can't stand them. The preppy gays, worst kind. So I'm not preppy. Where was I? So he gives her the plans. They're in love, blah, blah, blah. Harry, I guess his balls are okay. By episode 10, I guess he's fine. Episode 10, I'm like, Michael Patrick King, you knew what you were doing when you were writing Sex and the City. It worked. By the time we got to season 6, it was getting a little bit much, but it worked. And just like that, you tried to do something completely different and you messed it all up and it was complicated and you went as far away as possible from Sex and the City and you tried to make them do stuff that it just didn't work, okay, for the most part. And you kept tweaking and changing the narrative, the storylines, the rhythm, the pacing in season 2, in season 1, in season 3. And now finally, we get to episode 10 of And Just Like That, season 3, episode 10, and we have a true Sex and the City episode. Yes, I'm not crazy. Well, but call me Kreskin, okay? But I felt Sex and the City. Why? The episode starts with Carrie's voice off screen, writing, a chapter of The Gilded Age. But in reality, it's like her sex column. Very Sex and the City. We have a moment where the girls are all on the phone in 3 different apartments with a split screen. Very Sex and the City. We have a moment where the family gets together. Steve is back. Brody is back. We have the fart scene with the pregnant woman. Very Sex and the City. The jokes are rolling. The puns are rolling. We're hearing more music in the background. They started adding more sounds in the background. Season 1 had none of that. Sex and the City was all about the sounds of New York. We hear the sounds of New York. There's a lot of audio editing going on in episode 10, making it feel even more Sex and the City. And the most important thing, the graininess of the video or film returned. Again, we got that grainy film feel like we had in Sex and the City. So they have literally confectioned and packaged episode 10 like Sex and the City. And I was in awe. I was like, oh my God, there you have it. We're back, baby. Miranda's making silly jokes. Charlotte is being silly, but also caring. It's just Carrie, Miranda, and Charlotte. Seema is living her life separate from them. LTW is having her issues. Her husband is he's running for city council, something, something. Of course, I knew he was going to lose. And in episode 10, he loses the race. So they come back home and they're all upset. The moment of that episode was LTW was keeping a hamster for whatever reason in her apartment, and her youngest child let the hamster go. The hamster escaped. LTW freaked out on her daughter and started yelling at her, said, that was so stupid of you to let a hamster go. And there's so many rooms in this house. Now we'll never find the hamster. In that moment, LTW's husband's mom comes in and says, how dare you treat your daughter like that? And then all of this switches around at the end of the episode when LTW's husband loses the race. And then LTW's husband's, I don't know their names. The mom, she says to him, like, why did you make me go through all of this if you weren't sure you were going to win? So LTW has the moment of saying like, oh, I felt so bad that she yelled at me because I yelled at my daughter, but now I see that she yelled at you. So she made me feel like a bad mother, but she was even worse. And then she says, you're just human. You're only human. It's okay that you lost the race, this political race. You're only human. You're only human. I'm like, oh God, spare me. Really? So that's their storyline, basically. Yeah, and Seema is with her guy in the 70s apartment. But it's these three ladies, Charlotte, Miranda, Carrie, bam, that's the bond they have, and it flows even without Samantha. It does. What are you going to do? She's not there. What are you going to do? You do what you do. So, but she's wearing a lot of Vivienne Westwood, isn't she, Carrie? Duncan tells her, I'm going to go. This is it. This is the end. I'm going back to London. She's like, I know. They're talking a lot about London. Who's in London? Who's living in London? Samantha's in London. We have 2 episodes to go. Episode 10 finishes. 1 or 2 days later, Michael Patrick King and Sarah Jessica Parker announced that the show is canceled. They kind of tried to sell it to us as they knew that it was going to end with season 3. They knew that they didn't want to continue. Like, they wanted to make it sound like they were not canceled. They wanted to make it sound like it was their decision to stop. I don't know. Either way, they're keeping it very hidden. They didn't even tell us the titles of the last 2 episodes. They said that the final season/series finale is going to be a 2-parter episode. So it's going to be a finale split in 2 episodes. Usually, and Just Like That runs for 10 episodes. This season is 12 episodes long. And Sarah Jessica Parker and Michael Patrick King said they wanted to do 2 extra episodes to wrap it all up in a bow and make it so beautiful for all of us fans. And I'm like, they are keeping this under such tight wraps. I go to Google, I check the cast. I want to see if Kim Cattrall is in it. Kim Cattrall is in And Just Like That season 2, season finale. So she is part of the cast of And Just Like That. And yet, she's not on Google search. It's like they took her out on purpose to maybe keep something a secret. Okay, could you imagine? I'm just hopeful here, okay? Let a hope for my girl Kimmy, okay? Kimmy Cattrall Nova. Could you imagine if they made up or they gave her a gazillion dollars to do this and she said, well, I'll do it for $10 billion. So I would love to have Carrie run to London to see Duncan like she ran to Paris to see Baryshnikov. I would love for her to run to London to see this loser. And then he bails on her because, I don't know, he's fucking some other woman. And she meets with Samantha. And I'm like, give me at least that. I know that Kim Cattrall said her goodbyes at the end of season 2. I get it. But give me a moment. Give me a moment. If you're really going to end this show, go out with a bang, baby. Go out with a bang. Or we find out that Big never kicked the bucket. He just was entangled in some money laundering scheme and he ran away to London. And she goes to London and she sees Big. And surprise, surprise, Big is alive. Just like Stanley Zbornak, who we thought died in The Golden Girls, he ran away. He ran away, he faked his death, and he only told Sophia that he's still alive. So I'm thinking Big is still alive, baby, and they're just going to ease us into a spin-off with Samantha Jones or something, I don't know, but this ain't no way to finish a show. We've been suffering through 3 seasons. Finally now in season 3, episode 10, you give us Sex in the City back, and you're like, guess what, folks? That's all, folks. I'm like, wait, hold on a minute. We waited 3 episodes for this, and now you're like, well, it's over. Man, talk about foreplay that ends in a nothing. You know, yeah, hey, that's right. There was a scene when Carrie first met Duncan and messaged Samantha asking about him. I hope they give us the Samantha appearance. That's true. The only time, and I think they did this on purpose to really keep Kim Cattrall out of this so that we would not sniff or smell out that she's coming back. Although, I don't think she is. I'm hoping she is, but I don't think she is. But I would love if she did. Okay, so yes, you're right. The only time in 10 episodes of season 3 of And Just Like That Carrie is in touch with Samantha is that one text message she sends her about Duncan Kincaid, the London British book writer, and Samantha sends something back very sexual, like, I want to sit on him, or something like that. Carrie says, he lives under me. And Samantha says, the only thing I want is him under me, or me under him, or something like that. Okay. So anyway, yeah, that's true. That's the only time that Samantha and Carrie communicate in this season. And that's when they're talking about London, about Kincaid, about Duncan. We got 2 episodes left, you guys. I want to see Samantha. And you know what? As sad as this sounds, if she came back one more time, all 3 seasons would have been worth it. Waiting for a nice little moment, with Samantha. I would love it. Period. Okay. So there's that. What else happened? Nothing. It's a weird show, but I'm going to miss it. I am going to miss it, you guys. And, I've been saying this since a while now, way before, since season 1. People love to hate watch this show. People love to write like really nasty reviews about the show. I was never like that. I was always honest and tried to be positive about this. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the hate watcher who writes all negative stuff. Like, that is so gross. When did our culture turn into this? Like, when did we legitimize shit like that? Like behaving like total douchebags and think it's like, look at me, I'm so cool because I'm a hater. Like, when did it become trendy and cool to be openly so hateful and resentful? It's disgusting. No, that's not me. So while I love to throw shade at the show, when it's cringy, I also love when it's not cringy. There are moments that really warm my heart in this show as well. And I really loved seeing Miranda, Steve, and Brady together at table, even though they were fighting about the pregnancy, whatever. It was a nice moment to see them together, Carrie's hair is amazing. Every episode, even in episode 10, the hair was amazing. Fun with Fashion says they could AI generate Samantha into it. Oh my God, they totally could because they own the rights to the character. I don't know if they own the rights to Kim Cattrall's likeness because they're, and to her voice. I don't know. I know that there was like a big issue with SAG-AFTRA making like one of the reasons why they striked was because of AI, because a lot of companies were kind of like making actors sign contracts where they sell off their like likeness and voice or whatever for future technologies. So like let's say Harrison Ford kicks the bucket one day, they made him, they didn't, but they maybe if some studio made him sign off his likeness rights and voice rights, then his estate is not going to earn any money. Like they'll just use his visual and make a whole Star Wars character, you know, for looking like him, and but they don't have to hire him, right? So there was a whole fight about this, like, no, you cannot do this. Like, you have to make a right contract. Don't force actors into selling off their voice, their, you know, this or that, so that you can like kind of manipulate their voice for another project in the future, and you don't have to hire them because they already gave you the rights to their stuff like that. You know, you never know. So I don't know what the situation is with Kim Cattrall, if that's even legal at this point. But 20 years from now, who knows? With all the new laws coming in place that are not helping us at all. But yeah, we digress. Um. So I mean, we're not in a bad place at this point. I mean, you know, Aiden was never going to work. Aiden and Carrie, so that was a waste of time, I guess. But whatever, they just want to have her paired with someone. I would have preferred to have her just walk around New York having dates with random people. You know, I mean, the other ones are fine. Joy was gone. Miranda's girlfriend, she was gone in episode 10 like she never existed, so I have no clue what's going on with that. Maybe she's also in London. Are they all going to be in London for the last 2 episodes? They're very, very sneaky and silent about this. About the finale, episode 11 and 12. I don't know. I smell a London rat, baby. And London rats are huge. If you know, you know. Do I have a rat here somewhere? I have some London rats usually. Somewhere here. Where's my London rats at? No. I had a rat here somewhere running around. Like Madonna in her New York apartment where she's like doing something on Twitter or TikTok or Instagram, and then like a rat ran across the bathroom. Oh man, good old Madge, good old Madge. Anyway, you guys, I think that's it. That's kind of like the gist of episode 8, 9, and 10 of And Just Like That, season 3. You know, I'm looking forward to episode 11 and 12 to review it with you guys. You know, let's go out with a bang. You know, we got 2 more episodes to review, and then let me know. We can review other shows as well. For example, let me just throw a bone in. Lena Dunham? Netflix? The show is called Too Much? Megan Stalter? Stalter? Huh? Let me know down below. Love you loads, guys. Subscribe to my channel, thumb up this video, and until next time, never forget to never give up on Sex and the City Love. Bye.